Alrighty, welcome to Romera's virtual cast. So me and Dave started earlier, but we had some technical issues. If he cuts in
Yeah.
and out, that's what we were noticing is he was cutting in and out. But if he cuts in and out, just sorry, but yeah, that's a problem with technology nowadays. It doesn't always work the way you want it to. But so yeah, Dave was just explaining basically what he did like in college to compare to now, and it's just kind of helped him grow over time. So you're doing photography. You've been doing music. You
Yep.
been doing a lot of like brand promotion.
Yeah.
Is all this stuff seem like it kind of came natural to you, or did you feel like you had to work on it really hard?
Both. Yeah. But of course, with the photography, since I've always and then brand influence or ties that, especially ties my own. So it kind of it was a thing where you have to work at it, consistent with it. As far as posting, engaging, um, marketing yourself. So even if you are, I feel like I was also because I'm very in front of the and very grounded, So it's all thing, but it's like naturally talented but if you don't put work, you may not get.
So one thing that you said that really confuses me a lot is a lot of people are really nervous in front of a camera. It's like as soon as a camera gets in front of them, it's like they can't function,
Yeah,
and it's crazy because it's just it's an item like a camera, a speaker, a laptop, like it's all just technology. And as soon as you put a
right.
camera in front of somebody, I guess it might be the fact that they're being recorded and it's like they're getting a moment captured, so they might think, oh, I might mess up and people might heckle me because I mess up or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, do you feel like
Right.
you ever even had to think about that, or you just do you just do your thing?
That's a good question too. Yeah, it is super delayed, isn't it?
Yeah. It's weird.
Hold on. Because I guess that that's when I'm talking, so I can hear it. So I'm like, oh yeah, delayed. Hold on, let me see because I don't know what. All right, they got a little. All right. So to answer your question, um, man, I kind of spotted where it was kind of I really didn't like what people kind of said, and I was gonna show people, but when it came like for myself, I was gonna do it, and I'm not gonna really. So a lot of it all, within my life, uh, I've had to be that. Like if I were to a part of my friends function with a group of my friends, I'm one of the people expect to like life to that point, So I've always positions where people are at me. So whether I'm laugh or whether I'm asking myself, embarrassing myself, whether it is, I've always tried to be like people or just something. So like I said, I period a while back to where it was like, I'm just gonna support people, show love to people. But when it comes to I do my thing, I don't really care what I say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a big thing amongst like people who are, I guess, our age or, just kind of doing their thing on social media because like we, it's not that we just so much expect people to, I guess, support what we're doing, but
Right.
it just seems kind of like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you know who I am and you know what I'm doing. So, why not, give me a like, put a comment on there, share what I'm doing. because
Oh yeah.
it's something that you're doing it because that's what you want to do, and then you expect the people that you know to kind of help out and share your content.
You would think.
Yeah. And I actually learned a good bit from like just watching certain people who I guess are like a little bit above where I am and what I'm doing, because I'll see them just like commenting on other stuff, and and I was like, oh, that's pretty smart to just like just put anything, even if
Yeah.
it's emojis, just like put just random emojis.
Oh, that's important. I'm walking up, but
Okay.
that's important that you just said that because people there's been certain people who have gotten deals with brands from the brand seeing them in my comments.
Mm.
So that's very important. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure certain brands have seen me from comment other influencers, like you said, who are bigger than me. Because brands they'll look at who's commenting under a post about them, and if they made your profile pic or something like that cool, they may reach out to you, and there's a deal for you. So yeah, there's gems in supporting people. But go ahead, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point. I never even like that's pretty wild that
Yeah.
people get that kind of exposure. But I do tell people, so like if I wanted to show somebody your stuff, like if somebody was like, man, I want to get into photography or into modeling or brand sponsors or something like that, I would want to show them like, oh, I've got a friend named Dave. He does that kind of stuff. Let me
Right.
show you his stuff. I wouldn't share your profile with them. What I would do is I would comment their name into your like a post that you've posted, and
Oh,
I do that so that you see that I told somebody about you, and so because if I send it as a message, you never know. But if I
true.
put as a comment, then that way that person will, they'll be in the comment so you can see who the person is, and also that you can see that I shared that person, with you. So that's one technique that I've really caught on to. That's like, oh, that's a great way to show, if I'm doing that for you, that's a great way to show Dave that not only am I checking his stuff out, but I'm sharing his stuff with somebody specifically who wants to know more, and that person gets the exposure because now you're like, oh, who's this person that Jackson commented, and then you can check
Right.
them out, and if they need help, you can reach out to them or something like that. So that's it's the little thing.
No, that's interesting. I haven't heard. I haven't heard it put like that because most of when people comment somebody's they're opposed to it's cool to hear that of hey I'm recommending to you and your it's cool to hear because most people, they do it's for a gift or something like that. So it's cool to hear that. That's dope.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate that is you were talking about the giveaways, like that
Yeah.
is a a thing where people usually that's when people pay attention the most to to your stuff, and that's when they start commenting and doing all that kind of stuff, is because they get something out of it. But it's I want to say unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. You give stuff away for free, people are going to start commenting, liking,
Yeah.
sharing your stuff all the time. But other than that, you just kind of hope that they're faithful to you any other time.
Right. They're, they're following on that, your content.
How long do you think it took you to get to like? So you have about what 30 something thousand followers on Instagram.
Correct.
So how long do you think it took you to get to like? I mean, I don't know what you're happy with. So I mean,
Yeah.
a million could be what you're happy with. But like, how long do you think it took you to be like, okay, I like where I'm at, and now I just I want to build from here. I'm sure you always want to build, but when do you
Right.
think you got to a point where you're like, okay, this is pretty good?
So I had when I first started, which was like uh 4 years ago, I had about K um followers, regular page. And so I that page basically in business page, and I deleted all my posts. So I basically stopped. And I say mine different because I built their account the ground up. So as far as influencer, that came from, but the following have um following as far as starting out. Now to answer your I like it's always basically. So some to me say 30K a lot, but I have in my end that have maybe K 70 100K, and to me that would be a so I would say Jason more of the I would be with I reached 100 like I would go with that. Like, that would be amazing. But as far as in a goal, trying to stay organic. Instagram's crazy now, but 50K would be a nice satisfaction at that time.
So when you, I guess, are just like posting, do you feel like, there's like a certain audience that you currently have, and you're just trying to target that audience, or are you always just constantly trying to reach more people and like bring more people into your brand?
So comment is um is I present my my art. This is my deal to audience that we have. That's very so. I do do game and things like, but this very in what's the word? I'm very engaged with the audience now. I like to that I satisfy because they who my business, going strong as an who constantly um post, who constantly that group of people that do that. Those are really most important. That's the most important. All I'm thinking about, and it makes a huge deal. Posting everything when I'm doing the mindset of, okay, not only brand knows that they're getting hurt, but that my audience knows the mindset and still trying to become what they consistently support, which I feel like genuine and inspiration.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool like mindset and knowing that people are like faithful to the stuff that you post, and you can kind
Yeah,
of like gear what you post to those people. But
right.
I think there's you just kind of find that happy medium, even with just like making music. Like always reference Lil Wayne's album Rebirth, that like rock album he made. Like
Right.
people hated when he did that. They thought it was so bad, but like
Right.
because Lil Wayne has built up his audience, and he's built up certain people that are going to listen to his rap music, and then he puts out this rock album, and then it's like he's trying to reach a different crowd. He's trying to gain more people. So yeah, I mean, it's you kind of kind of find a balance of like, you know, what people who already are interested in your stuff and then the people who you want to involve in.
Yeah.
So that actually brings up another question that I have. So you've got a brand on your hat right now, right? That you market
Yeah.
to.
Uh, TL. What's your hustle? What's your hustle?
So so that made me think about, I guess, people who are companies who they see your stuff and do they reach out to you and be like, "Hey, we noticed you worked with so and so and we think you'd fit for us," or do you, when you market yourself to brands, do you say, "Hey, I worked with so and so. Do you think that y'all would be interested in me as well," or something like that?
No, so I created basic.
You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, we good. Is it any better?
I think your audio is much better.
Okay, I put in an earpod. An AirPod.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, I was hoping that would work. But what was your question?
So I was talking about just like brands, like an association. So like some brands might see that you've worked with somebody in the past, and then they might be interested in you because it's like they associate with them. So if you worked with like Timex or something like that, then another watch
Yeah,
company
I
might
have.
want to work with you. Or if you have worked with, like if you worked with a brand and you say, "Hey, I worked with so and so. Would y'all want to work with me as well?" or something like that.
Oh, I got you. So, no, I don't really do it like that. I kind of, well, to answer some of your other questions, as far as do some brands approach me or do I approach them, it's kind of half and half. So, surprisingly, actually, most of the bigger paying deals I've had and more of the like huge deals I've had, it was brands that actually approached me.
Mm.
As far as how they may have seen me, not really sure. They could have seen me on somebody else's post. I know back then hashtags were actually very useful and engaging back then, so I'm sure I was found on a lot of hashtags back then. And then the other half is me. I send out what's called like press emails, like with press kits, trying to get people to do business with me. So it'll be I may send out an email, introducing myself, who I am, my following, maybe highlight some points about myself, send them a few examples of my content, and then see if they want to partner from there. I don't really use association as much. So, and I've never really had a brand that said, "I see you work with so and so," until like after we partnered. So yeah, so I don't think association is great, but I guess I don't. It's not something that I have used as far as a tactic.
Okay. So all the, I guess all the experience that you've developed over time, just like doing all this kind of stuff. Do you think anything like in college really helped learn or help, you know, get you to that point, or is it all kind of like, I just dumped all that?
Man, you had some dope questions. Um, because I think about that sometimes. That's why I like that question so much. Man, so we went to. I don't know what was your like. We was in business together, but I don't know what may have been your like core. Mine was marketing,
Oh, see, mine was
and
management.
so yeah, I thought so. And so I did learn like some things in regards to marketing that I felt were beneficial in regards to like how you can market yourself and things like that. But as far as being an influencer, I would say no. I don't think much of what I may have learned or studied in college really helped. As far as, and I say that because being an influencer is based on, your content, following, um, your followers, how they engage with you, your work ethic and things like that. It's not really. I mean, you have to be a creative, but you don't have to be, book smart or things like that. And there's certain things we learn you don't doesn't necessarily have to be applied because I feel like as a creator, when you're putting out content that you care about, you'll find a way to like market it, to try to get people to see it. Photography wise, um, I'll say maybe a little bit just in regards to the business aspect of certain things. Now, things we learned in school in regards to like the economy, um, certain business things like supply and demand, things like that are just those are things that I still find valuable in everyday life. But as far as what I do for a living now, I wouldn't say a lot of what I learned in college would plays a factor. Yeah, I did when I was like I said, when I was let's say for instance if I was in a position though where I was selling a product. So if I was which I did a little bit back then, I had a little t-shirt line and things like that. Now when it comes to that, since I have a tangible product, there actually are a lot of things I learned in school that I definitely could apply to running a business that has a tangible product. Or if I wanted to start like a restaurant or run that type of business, or like certain legal things, it does play a factor in that. It would play a factor in that. But since I'm a photographer, a model, and an influencer, those things don't directly um, kind of play into that. Photography, of course, it's a business and it's a real business. So there's things that I make and apply that I learned business wise. But a lot of things they were teaching us that I feel like can be applied, kind of related more to when you may have had tangible products.
So when you, I guess, look at the different things that you do, is there one that you value more? Like you might not make more, if it's photography or the modeling or whatever. You might make more in photography, but you like the modeling better, or you might make more modeling, or vice versa. So, is there one that you're like, I really want to focus on this one more because this is what I truly like?
Music, music was actually, that was my first love.
Okay.
So music came before everything. Um, so that's always gonna be, something that I keep at heart and I'm gonna stay attached to. I'm a musician also, and so I'm consistently somehow involved in music. I kind of music actually helped me kind of get over basically any fears I had. Back then, somebody man is somebody may I could have been afraid to maybe fight a bigger dude, but I don't care how good you may have thought you was at rapping or your skills was. You could tell me to rap with anybody, and I would not. I'd be like, bring them over. I
Mm.
wouldn't be scared at all. It was just, and that's when I knew, like, yeah, I really, really love this. It was like I just wasn't afraid. Like everybody used to always tell me to freestyle something when I get around strangers, and it was like, hey, tell them to freestyle. Yeah, we'll do it. I'll do it. I'll run it.
Yeah.
Um, but then it would probably be photography because photography has so many aspects. For me, it has so many aspects that open so many doors. So I love photography because it was one of my first. Besides music, it was like one of my first arts that took where you had to have discipline and study and things like that. Like music, it was just kind of I started writing rhymes and I was doing it. I dived into it. Photography, you know what I'm saying? At some point in time, if you want to improve in it, you got to study some things, about photography.
Yeah.
So I started young with the cameras we all started with and just continue to progress. But photography allowed me to not only have so many like different opportunities, meet so many people, it also allowed me to grow my influencer in my own business. Since I do shoot most of the content myself, photography allowed me to not only take care of my photography clients, but also my brand deal clients. So, and it also keeps my art side like it's kind of a part of my expression, you know. So like if I like art, spark paintings and things like that. I feel like if somebody paints something, that's like an expression of their talent on paper that they're presenting to you. So photography, I feel like that's more of you're providing art through still images, and that's your work from what you saw with your eye, and you're producing that, and it's it lasts for as long as you want it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool concept. The idea of how art just lasts for forever. Like
Right.
I was thinking about that with doing features with people. Like you do a feature with somebody, and you pay them or whatever, and it's most people think, well, it's done. I made the song, I gave them the money, and it's done. But like that's for forever. You
Yeah.
that's a memory that will last for forever. Like I guess the biggest feature I've gotten is on my song "Start a Trend" with I did one with Fraser Boy, and it was at first I was like, do I want to pay him to to do a feature? Like I don't even know how much it will really like help me, but
Right.
it's the concept of I did a feature with Fraser Boy,
Yeah.
and that's a lifetime memory, and I think about that
Yeah.
with anybody. I've done a feature with Brandon, and
Right.
the fact that I can just keep that for forever, that song, like as long as I don't lose
Aruba.
the yeah, as long as I don't lose Aruba the file, and as long as it's on streaming sites, like that's a a lasting memory for eternity. So that's one thing that really makes me hope that doesn't get lost in school. Like I did not think art was that important when I was in high school, but now looking back on it, I'm like, man, that art's probably the most important thing because
Yeah.
it teaches kids to be creative, and it's a business in itself. So if they get good at it, they can start their own business. So like after you get out of art class, you should have to go to business class. Like that, like that's just how that should work. But yeah, I mean, it's something that's I think is really important if it's music or if you're drawing or painting or photography, videography, like whatever it is. It should definitely be I think harped on more for people to just get accustomed to it and just be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, like with your rapping skills, you aren't afraid of anybody, and
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of like painters, like my wife Rachel started painting, and then she'll get this idea of like, oh, this isn't good enough, but like I'm sure 90% of people who start out painting think that way, and
Yeah.
even people who do photography, they probably think like, oh, well, my picture's not as good as so and so, but like that's where if you start showing people your art, 9 times out of 10 you show a friend your art, they're going to tell you it's good, and
Hmm.
they might not say it's the greatest, but they'll at least give you a sympathy good. And
Yeah.
that's really all you need, that little bit of confidence to just keep getting better. Because if somebody told you you're trash from the get go, you might give up. But you just
Yeah.
need a little bit of that confidence that, oh, I can do this, and then you're just going to keep getting better over time.
Yeah. That's true. And you'll start creating, habits of doing it. And I tell people, man, I don't care like how lackluster in talent anybody think they are in any areas. You can do, you can master any art or anything with time. So it's like the amount of time you put into something. Like I said, musicians, the greatest musicians, man, if you were to ask them how often they play, it'll blow your mind. And it's like, when did you sleep? You know what I'm saying? But that's what it takes to be the best musician ever. That's what they do. So yeah, that makes sense. They at some point in time they probably played with somebody. Somebody told them they were good, and they were like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna play guitar the rest of my life and become the best at it."
Yeah. So you play the drums? Is there anything
Yep,
else you play?
I play guitar also,
Okay. Uh,
acoustic.
how long have you been doing that?
Actually, funny man, my first guitar class was at JSU.
Oh, really?
Yeah, funny. I took the class at JSU semester. I had an A in that class too. It was pretty dope.
Nice.
I wish I could remember the teacher's name. I'll shout him out. But yeah, so in college, and then it would kind of be off and on. And I actually went back, like after I had graduated, I went back and did some shows at JSU and played for some people.
Oh, dope.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. So I've been doing it about how old am I now? 30 now. About 8 years off and on. Now I do blame myself for not being more consistent with it and putting more time to it. But it's also because I do, so many other things. But yeah, I still I got my guitar in there, man. I still and I actually plan on doing some things with it soon in regards to like composing my own stuff.
So with how busy you are, do you have like a set schedule that you come up with? Like, okay, I need to do music this much this week, and video or photos and everything this like this much this day. Like, do you set something up, or do you just like, all right, I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna get stuff done.
Man, it's both actually. So a lot of my time taken up with editing, of course, for my clients, shooting myself, um, editing, the stuff for myself for the brand. So my schedule, so I have a schedule, of course, as far as bookings. So that's that. And then I have, as far as a daily schedule, I make sure there's a prioritization. So I know for a fact I got to get up, and these people, this person's gallery has to be done. So I need to when I get up after I eat breakfast or whatever, I need to edit these people and finish their gallery and send it off. And then so after I may do that, I'll let the rest of the day kind of be get this done, kind of get this done. But I'll make sure basically every day I have like priority things that must get done, and then I'll have other things that can just they have to get done, but they're more of a just kind of going with it and getting done.
So when you do prioritize these things, how strict are you? Sticking to them? Like I know you said, all right, I got to get this gallery done, but like, do you get distracted? I mean, you're at home. You got to get distracted, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I have a serious case of I don't want to misquote it or ADHD or ADD to where like I can't think about something for more than about 20 seconds, honestly. Like to be it's crazy. Like you can ask me to get something out the kitchen. And if somebody in the living room asks me to do something or even says something like that just distracts me from what I was doing, I'll forget that you totally asked me to do that. It's, so it's like yeah, I definitely get distracted. What I try to do is I have like certain routines that actually kind of feed my distraction, but also allow me to work.
Mm.
So to give an example, I watch a lot of sports debate shows. It's kind of one of my things. And so I'll wake up and I'll let like Skip and Shannon play. And I'll tell myself like I know during that period, if I'm sitting here just watching it and not working on something, then we'll have a problem.
Mm.
But if it's playing in the background and I'm somewhere listening to it and I'm in my computer editing, then it's serving its purpose.
Mm.
So I guess what I'm saying is basically like I get distracted, but what I try to do is allow what not get too into the distractions and kind of like if I got a task, I'll try to finish that and then move on to the next thing.
Okay. I would actually hate that. Like, so if I hear something, like I want to pay attention to it. That's why, like, if I read a book, I read in silence because it will distract me to like hear a TV or like I'll be like reading a book in this studio room, and I can hear Rachel on like playing a video game downstairs, and it'll just like piss me off. 'Cause I'm just like, I want to be playing video games instead of freaking reading this book.
Right.
So it's yeah, I mean, some people say it's kind of like sleeping. You know, some people like to have a fan on when they sleep because you know it just kind of helps them go to sleep. It's just noise, but that's pretty interesting that you know. So you're the type of person who, I guess, you're able to uh, dig into your distraction while you're working. Because some people, like, if they're even next to it, you know, like getting like an alcoholic, you know, walking by a bar, like they just
Hmm.
get a sniff and they're like, oh, I got to do it.
Right.
But you're able to, you know, I guess mix and match and still be productive.
Yeah, and I also think it's because of routine. So like watching that is kind of a part of my routine. So there's a lot of days where I may miss, half of what they're saying because I'm working on what I'm working on.
Mm.
So, but I know, I have it recorded, and so I play it, daily, and so that's basically a part of my routine. And if I let that become, so it's kind of like if I let that become a distraction, then that's kind of more my fault. But it was funny you mentioned that you like when you're reading books. See, and that's probably why we're different because I'm not really a big reader, and so I learn a lot visually and from sound. I just always been like that. Like if I wanted to read something, I would probably listen to an audio book so I could hear the changes in the tone of somebody's voice,
Mm.
and that sells like the story more for me, or that'll put more of the emotion for me to know where I'm going. So changes in tones and like when I watch movies, I don't just pay attention to the movie. I pay attention to the music that's going on at that time, like and what the director may have been thinking while he did this music to make it like this, and different things like that. So I guess I'm used to being provided with a lot and just kind of picking things, different things to learn from. So I'm kind of used to being able to take chaos and be somewhat productive with it.
So with all the things that you know, um, how all do you where do you feel like you're at with these skills? Like, do you feel like you're still beginning? Do you feel like you're kind of in the middle, or you're kind of about to reach your peak? Like, where do you feel like
Oh
you're?
no, I definitely know I'm nowhere near a peak, and I like that. And I probably never will be, to be totally honest, with just because of every time a every time I reach a goal, I set a new one. You know what I'm saying? Or every time I feel like my work looks great, which I'll always feel like my work looks great, but there'll be somebody else's work who I'll see that'll motivate me and be like, ah, that stuff is good. I can improve something. And so I feel like I'm in this middle place to where I know I'm not a beginner because I do have knowledge and experience, but I'm definitely nowhere not uh, um, toward my peak because I personally have so many people that that motivate me and that I hold to a higher standard than myself, and then it's just that I'm really hard to hard to satisfy when it comes to stuff like that. So it's like I make sure to kind of pat myself on the back sometimes and things like that. But as far as a hard cap on satisfaction, it's like okay, yeah, this month we did good. Next month we need to double it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm probably gonna always, just because of my mentality, I'm probably gonna always end up in that middle realm because a peak for me would be, yeah, it would be so kind of, it would be like to the point to where I would probably, even if I thought I was at my peak, I'd probably create something else to where it's like, okay, well, I could be doing this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So yes, I think I'll remain no matter how I progress with things. I'll remain in the middle realm because I have the knowledge and experience, but I probably won't reach a peak because I'm always trying to constantly reinvent and improve.
So, is there something that you feel like, I guess, is you really need to work on? Like, is there a skill that you feel like, I've always been, not great at this, and this is what I want to improve on.
Probably I'm probably more of a person that needs to sharpen like a lot of things in a lot of areas. And so I know one thing is I want to be and get more consistent with the things that I know are the main factors that are going to drive business. So, for instance, like sometimes social media is a big part of business, for me and my business. But as you, which I'm sure you know, social media can get exhausting sometimes. It's like you just have those moments where it's like, I really don't feel like being on social media.
Yeah,
um, and it's just I'm a high activity guy also, so it's like I like if I've sat around and been on my phone for more than a certain amount of time, I'm ready to go outside. I'm ready to skate or I'm ready to do something. So, but there are times, where I need to make sure that that consistency is there with that because it matters. It's what I do. And I feel like also one thing I can work on is, which I have gotten better at, is really accepting and presenting myself as what I am. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I do. This is all I do. So when somebody is inquiring about what I do, or you know what I'm saying, they may ask somebody else what I do. That those people need to know that's Dave. That's Wavy Baby. He's an influencer. He's a photographer and a model. That's what he is. The same way, and I need to make sure that that's fully worn and captured by me. Also, no hesitation. So there's no hesitation. There's no nothing else. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. This is who I am. So that's one thing. Like I said, I have improved with that. Like people know that as far as like that's who I am. That's what I do. But like I said, as far as not even making it known like that in even more areas, and so the same way, you may be working for a company, traveling for a company, um, selling products for that company, or gaining awareness for that company. In the same way, I need to make sure awareness is being gained in other areas for my brand. So just things like that. Those are kind of main things that I feel like I can work on. And the reason that some of those things get kind of not that they got pushed back, but there was a large amount of time where I wanted to make sure I was being the best father that I could be. And so I felt like that was kind of, well, definitely was accomplished and still, going. So once I kind of succeeded that goal, then that's when I really started looking at other things that I need to improve on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I, me and my wife, we don't have any kids, but I definitely admire people like you and Brandon who have a child and still are busy. You're still doing
Right.
the things that you love to do, and I'm just like, what would you do at the time? Like, how do, do you like when you have a kid? They just give you extra hours. Like, here you go. Here's your baby and your 6 more hours in a day. Like, so how do you manage that?
um, Man, that's a good question. So, and my story is a little different from other people's because I basically betted on myself and went full fledged around the time my baby was born. So around the time that more responsibility came is when I stepped away, from corporate corporate world. I was like, about to get it on my own. So what happened is that ended up actually helping because that did allow me to spend more time with her. And it allowed me to have more time to focus on my craft and things like that. So that was definitely a big me working for myself is definitely a big thing that helped. And then the prioritize.
Yeah, I always tell people, and I think I just recently posted this on Facebook, is I was just thinking about like, a lot of people's like, well, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, but it's like you probably definitely have the time. You're just telling yourself you don't because you don't want
Yeah,
to, and one, you probably don't want to make the sacrifice that you have to make, which is either A, lose some sleep, or B, give up something that you enjoy doing in your leisure time. So if you are a type of person who watches movies and TV for 3 hours a day, or if you like being on your phone for 3, 4 hours a day, then if you just take so those two activities. So if you watch
right.
TV for 3 hours and you're on your phone for 3 hours, that's 6 hours that you could do anything. Let's just say you wanted to learn violin. You could spend 6 hours a day learning violin if you just stop being on your phone and stop watching TV. That's a lot of time. so so I always tell people like it's you have the time, you just don't have the priority at the moment. Like you just need to change your priorities, and then you'll have the time to do whatever. Like I
Right.
just doing like simple stuff as in like reading. Like so right now I'm learning Japanese, and I've been
Oh, that's fire.
I've been
I do
reading.
learn Japanese. I watch a lot of I listen to a lot of Japanese when I watch anime.
I found some guy on YouTube who was talking about that's how he learned a lot of his Japanese was just watching anime and then learning like
Hmm.
how they, like you were saying, like you want to hear the cadence of their voice. He said he just listened to how they spoke and then got familiar with the sounds and the words, and it really helped him out. But yeah, and I've been doing a lot of reading lately, and I used to think I do not have the time to read, but
Yeah.
I've just been sacrificing other things that I like to do. I'm like, okay, instead of doing this, I'm going to read, and then I'm take an hour, 2 hours out of my day, and then just read a book, and that is going
So how
to.
did you go about that? Like, did you assess what things were taking up most of your time, and was like, this is where I can cut out this and that?
Exactly, yeah. So I just thought about, so usually when I come home from work is around I get home about like 4, and what I usually do is just if I'm working on a music project or if I've taken some photos or videos and I need to edit those, that's what I'll do. But lately I'm like, okay, if I come home and then just read automatically, then I feel like I can crunch everything else. And another thing that does is it forces you to work faster and to work more efficient. Because
Yeah.
if you're like, I need to do these things, but you also cram more stuff into that time frame, you don't have a choice. You have to be more efficient. And so if you're just like cramming more things into a shorter period of time, so you're like, all right, how can I save time by doing these other things still on top of the other things that I want to do? So that that was one
That's
thing
true.
that I like gathered from just adding more things to my life. I'm like, I don't have time to take my time. Usually when you're doing something, you're like, oh, you take your time. If you're editing photos or something, light some candles, throw some music on. But if you don't have, if you usually have 3 hours to edit a ton of photos, and now you only have an hour and a half, well, you
Right.
need to just go in there, sit down, edit the photos. Like don't waste time like doing your contrast and exposure and color grading and then redo the color grade, redo the like no, you need to get it right the first time and then move on to the next one. So
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was something that I definitely picked up from just adding something as small as reading a book for an hour a day. It subtracted 1 hour of my day, but it also forced me to do more. And I think I used to spend more time in the gym, and I don't spend as much time in the gym as far as like days, but also like a time limit. Like I usually say, hey, I've got an hour, so you
Right.
know no talking around to people, no just sitting around after a set.
Yeah, no long breaks.
Yeah, just get in there, get it done, get home, because that's
Right.
you've set aside this hour in the gym, and if you want to count in travel or whatever, but this is the time I have, and this is all I got. So you know,
Right.
what?
Oh,
Oh, you got me.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
My
um,
bad.
so I was gonna ask what are your like future plans as far as all the things that you do? Do you have any like teaching plans or because do you ever have you heard of Skillshare?
I haven't heard of that.
So Skillshare is a website, Skillshare.com. They need to sponsor me for my part. I tell people all the time about Skillshare. That and that and Fiverr. But so yeah,
I've heard of Fiverr.
yeah. So on Skillshare, basically you can create your own curriculum, like your own course, and
Hmm.
once you do that, you just put it on the website, and then I think Skillshare will pay you for the amount of people who take your course. I think that's the way it works. But
Oh.
yeah, so like say you want to do a course on photography, which I know a good bit about photography, but I still take these courses from people, and it might be like beginner photography. I'll still take that because they might say
Hmm.
something that I never thought of. So yeah, I mean, have you ever thought
Right.
about doing something like that where you just as a job you teach people?
Yeah, actually, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought about that because I mean that's something I like to do and enjoy doing, like bringing other people on, teaching other people about things, sharing opportunities of how I did something. So that's actually another stream of income that I plan to implement um, really soon. Actually, at some point in time, I've just been wanting to find the right avenue. I've already zeroed in on what I want to basically teach or help people with in regards to what I know. And so, yeah, that's definitely been an option, something I want to do. I've done, and I've actually did a couple social media like classes. I did one at Miles a while back, and I've done another one before, like a presentation to people. So yeah, that's definitely in the future.
That's dope. I didn't know you did that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what is something that you feel like you haven't done that you want to do?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, just to kind of go off the deep end, I got skydiving on my bucket list. I got cliff diving on my bucket list. But as far as kind of like if we're talking crafts and different things like that, uh, I wouldn't mind learning another instrument,
Hmm.
and I want to improve my skating skills.
Okay.
Um, as far as being a skater, like a longboarder and a roller skater, I want to improve my skills in that because I've always been pretty good with it, but I want to be on an expert level with it.
And you said that how you would learn. Would you just watch videos on somebody doing it and somebody explaining it, or would you be like find somebody who's a great skateboarder and be like, hey, I'll pay you blah 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 to train me how to do this?
So when it comes to that, like things like skateboarding and things like that, man, that's more of like you really got to get out there before you even want somebody to teach you anything. You got to build their confidence because that's to be totally honest, that's what anybody who skates, that's what they'll tell you. It's all about confidence, and that's why a lot of people that probably don't skate or think skate, they think they'll fall. And so it's one of those things when you get like the more I know that the more I skate and the more comfortable I get because I'm very comfortable now. But when I'm comfortable at those speeds, like those really, high danger speeds, and I'm also technically okay with it, then I eventually want to like start getting around some people who are really about it, you know what I'm saying, and really turn it up from there.
Yeah, that's
So,
you good.
yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say that's a good way to really think about it because I mean, so many people when they do new things, they might just jump into it with zero confidence and they just say, "Well, I want to learn this thing," and then they don't
All
have
right.
any confidence at all at doing that skill, but yet they say they want to do it. So if you if you build that confidence first and then get somebody to teach you, then yeah, you're definitely gonna succeed at it better. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, and that's like 'cause I do like horseback riding too, which I'm going supposed to be going this week. That's another thing that I want to get to an expert level on. And it's another thing that's about confidence. Now I do go with a trainer when I do that because this is something you need. You riding a whole nother animal, so to speak. But it's something that I've lately past couple of years that I've been doing, and I like it a lot actually. So and it's all about confidence too. Ever since I first got on, and I've been doing it because I told my instructor, I'm like, hey, I want to have the extreme experience. I don't want to do no try or anything like that. I'm really trying to learn how to ride. And so, like, all right, well, uh, you gonna I'm gonna put you up there, and we're gonna see how it happens. And so, when I got up there, I knew like, okay, I don't know how to ride a horse, but if I'm at least confident enough that I'm not just going to straight up fall, then we can get somewhere. And that's kind of how it happens. The confidence in certain things and things like that require if there's like an instant fear about something that can happen to you, then confidence is definitely a thing to build up first.
Absolutely. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you, man. Want to get you out of here on time, but what is like your everything for people to reach you, to see your stuff, give everybody your socials, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. So y'all can follow me. Go back to my little numbers, my little clock. I like how I was looking on the can. So listen, y'all can follow your boy Instagram, Love Simply Dave. Hit me up. I follow back, talk back, whatever y'all want to do. Hit up the photography site, simplydavephotography.com. Even if you just want to check out the work, or just see how I do and everything like that. You can reach out to me mainly Instagram and my site is where you can find me at. And besides that, you want to work, anything you want to get down, let me know. Music is coming soon too, so y'all stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we still haven't done a song together. We still got we still got to do one.
Man, yeah, we got to. And I know if I was more active, I'm pretty sure we probably would have done something by now. So
Absolutely.
we gonna make that happen.
Absolutely.
I still be bumping Aruba.
Yeah.
Take it down like a scuba.
Well, all right, man. Yeah, thank you so much for being able to do this, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully, sometime you can come to Memphis. You can come stay at my house, and then we can do a
Oh, that's in the
live,
plan.
yeah, in person podcast or something.
Yeah, man, especially with the questions that you ask and everything, we definitely got to do this in person.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.